There we are. Welcome into another edition of TigerBait Live. A lot of LSU football, basketball, baseball topics to discuss tonight. Today's Pete Maravich's birthday. We find out they're going to give him a well-deserved statue outside the PMAC. And so that was a bit of news this afternoon. Jay Johnson hosting recruits. LSU football program, I think, 27 official visitors in the month of June. And when you look at that number of 27 or so, it's very obvious what the focus is because almost half of them are offensive linemen. This weekend, another big group of offensive linemen coming in. Brad Davis recruiting offensive linemen from coast to coast. We can talk about that. Could have some recruiting news tomorrow, and I don't think that's going to be it. I'll just say there's going to be some big news coming within the next 72 hours and through the weekend. I'm going to leave it at that. There's something going down tomorrow at 2 o'clock, but it's not going to be the end of it. There's going to be some big things happening LSU recruiting-wise in the next 3 to 4 days. How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you.
Welcome in. Buddy Songy in the house.
Yeah, it is, of course, June the 22nd. Yesterday was the first day of summer, the longest day of the year. And I got to tell you, folks, put your sunglasses on because I went to bed after midnight. You still a night owl?
Yeah.
You know, as I get older, I need more sleep, Mike. But these summer hot days, I go back to Brian Kelly in the spring when he was bragging about Baton Rouge feeling like San Diego. And, of course, the last time he actually had a local interview with Jacques, he was talking about he's in the best shape of his life. So he's gotten acclimated. But all the influx of the Midwestern kids coming in here. And, oh, by the way, I love that white-on-white uni that they have them in when they come in on these visits. I'd love to see them use a little bit more of that.
Well, did you see the prospect that basically documented his whole?
Yes,
that was awesome.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. That's up on the front page of TigerBait, and it gives you a real. I mean, them driving to the airport, them checking in, the food, the conversations. You see Brian Kelly coming to the table, Yale Lofton. All the assistant coaches. I think that whole thing was a neat thing to see.
A lot of people on vacation, Mike. A lot of people in Florida, and all over the Gulf Coast, as well as getting their trips in. And with LSU baseball and track and field and everything closed down and finished for the year, this is a time where a lot of people throw something against the wall, and we talk about numbers and quarterbacks and all that stuff. So I'm kind of chilling. I'm going to have a lot of stats. I keep hearing this about Miles Brennan. You know, Miles Brennan had more yardage in 3 games than Joe Burrow did in that record-breaking season. He also lost 2 of the 3 games. Not him, but the team. So I'm going to dive in, talk about the stats of Butte, of course, who I think needs to have a big year to ascend up in the first round. Miles Brennan, and you know, this is the thing that I'm interested in. Not who's going to be the guy, but who are going to be the guys. Yep, I'm saying it's going to be more than one quarterback this year. Maybe 3 at times because of injuries and all the other things. But how are you going to pare down who the starting quarterback is because you don't hit the quarterback, whether it's spring or fall. And so a run-pass option like a Jaden Daniels, we know he needs to improve on footwork and arm you know, obviously the deep ball and all the other stuff. But, man, you can't simulate what that guy can do on a Saturday night on a run-pass option. And so all of that and this overwhelming consistency of every interview that I'm seeing and hearing and watching, whether it's a coach or a player, I sense that the culture has in fact changed. And now I am ready to say we have – look, we keep saying in the stock market, have we hit the bottom? Well, I should have wore black and blue because I've been beat up for the last 7 months, but I really think the bottom is over for LSU football. I know you and other people are a little nervous because they don't have the numbers of 2023, but we go back to when he first came in. All these transfer portal guys.
That didn't bother me.
I know, but there was a lot of people saying, I thought they were going to get 4. Just be patient. The man knows what he's doing. It is going to take a couple years, and we have said this on numerous occasions, Mike. They have a little bit of a different philosophy recruiting with this staff and priorities. And, of course, those ugly
There's gonna be
letters, NIL, are still a factor that we don't know how much it'll impact this class.
Show brought to you by Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Went and put on my polo shirt tonight. And before, when Buddy walked in, I was wearing the purple one. And he was wearing purple, so I had to go change and put on the blue one. And so Buddy didn't want to match tonight, and I understand. But Miss
He makes the shirt look a little bit better than I do.
Miss Tammy reached out this morning. Another guy that I've got to get the free promo. She had another one this morning, so people are still jumping on. Call Pride for your free roof inspection, and you're going to get free TigerBait Premium for a year. TigerBait is growing by leaps and bounds, and of course, Pride Roofing is a big part of that growth. Is a partner with us, and of course, they sponsored this show, the title sponsor, each and every week, and we've got bigger things coming with Pride Roofing as football season is on the way here. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about Mike and Alex a little bit later in the show. But big thanks to Pride Roofing for sponsoring us each and every week. So,
Let's rock and
5
roll
commitments.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
1 for 24. And so, I don't think it's a big deal. If you ask me, most years, if you said, Mike, is there any chance there's some secret commitments? I never bought into that. I think there are some. I think there probably could be as many as double digits. Guys that they know that the parents said, look, we're coming. Kids that maybe they don't want. I think there is some gamesmanship going on. And LSU's not the only one playing that game. A&M, who had the top class in the country last year, they have the same number of commitments that LSU does for this recruiting year, 5. Although I think they did get somebody today. Maybe they're at 6 now. But either way, you get a bunch of guys committed, and it puts a bullseye on your back, and it has it starts the train of NIL stuff getting out of hand. So I think there's going to be a lot of schools that maybe know who's coming, and they're going to want kids to announce as late as possible. Because there's going to be a circus the first few weeks of December, and I think they want to avoid it really not getting obnoxious too early.
And as I have said, a little pun for you, I heard it through the grapevine that you really saw a tackle out there, and right after you saw him, you said this is a must-get. So it's good to see Louisiana having – I mean, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and predict it. Will Campbell's going to start at left tackle, and Emory Jones is going to be in the 2 deep. Now, it's too early to know, right guard, left guard, try him at center, whatever. But that is a mammoth man. You've talked to him. We've all talked to him. He is ready to go. And, of course, we know Fitzgerald West is probably going to redshirt. He's probably, unless something crazy happens at center, but his body's going to get better. He's going to be good. And Bordelon, of course, as we know, has great promise. That's 4 from last year in the state. But Hurd is the guy that you feel like they must have.
I've got his video ready to roll. In fact, go to TigerBait after the show, and I'm going to make that video go live. Video I shot of him at camp. He is very much a must-get. Zalen's Hurd from Neville. Fantastic offensive lineman. I will flat out tell you that Hurd, of all the offensive linemen in the state for the class of 23, he is the one that is a must-get that you better not let get away. That the others, you can maybe say, that guy needs to develop more. Or this one's that, or this one's a couple years, 3 years away. This kid, he can be a starter by year 2. I'm not gonna say he's gonna run in like Will Campbell and be but it won't take him long. If you were in a bind, he could probably come in and play at guard immediately. I think he's that good.
Yeah.
Big strong kid.
Interactions tonight, because I want to. I enjoy when you go single and you get so much feedback. Look, we're chilling. It's summertime. I asked Mike. He said, "Oh yeah, we got plenty to talk about. So let's fire in some questions and have a little fun." Next week, I'm gonna bring a bunch of statistics to the table, and I didn't say that about Miles Brennan to denigrate what he did, passing yardage. But listen, when Bo Pelini is giving up 625 yards to Mississippi State and you're playing catch up, you're going to have 400 yards passing. You had 400 yards passing against Missouri, and you freaking lost because you couldn't get a half yard on fourth down late in the game. So I'm not taking anything away from it, but once again, let's not lead too much into these stats. More people more worried about W's than individual.
All right, let's see how many of these I can rattle off. And guys, do me a favor before I do it. Please hit the like and share button. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscription button and the notification bell. And by hitting the like button, you really do help us with the algorithm. It pushes it so it gets recommended in everybody's recommended file, the category on the right side of YouTube. Very much appreciative if you share it to your own social media, your Facebook, etc. But Golden Boot Pod, Mike and Buddy in the building. Glad to have those guys, Daniel, Pooh Bear, Ant, great group that do a good, very fine Sunday show. Blaine Smith, good evening, guys. Give me some good news in recruiting. Blaine, like I started the show with, there's going to be, I think there's going to be some very positive LSU recruiting news in the next 3, 4, 5 days, and it's not just going to be one item. I think there's going to be multiple, and I'll say one of them is going to be extra special. Chris English, let's go. And I haven't even told Buddy what it is yet. Edward O, got the crabs. Great to see Buddy in the room. Guess he's got a late date.
Hey, shout out to Pooh Bear and Daniel and Ant. And what I like about it, look, it started 35 years ago. And I haven't told this story on Facebook and YouTube. It's not about me, but I was, going to work, regular job, sports related. And Dale Brown was on WJBO with that Motivational Minute. And he said, hey, if you want something, go out and make it happen. And I'm impressed with what those guys have done. I've watched some of their interviews. They're doing a great job. And that's what this American dream, what little we still have left of, Mike, in this country, that's what it's all about. Looking and identifying something that you want and go and get it. And that's why I'm confident that Brian Kelly and everybody involved in this program right now is right there. Hold the rope all together. And look, if you walk across the line, it's obvious. Your butt's getting booted. But shout out to those guys. Oh, Nurse
Court. Hey, everyone. Mark J. Go Tiger Nation. Chris English. Great news coming very soon. Let's see what we got here. Pistol Pete gets his statue, says Blaine Smith. Way overdue.
Sure.
I think a lot of people just felt, well, the building was named after him. They didn't even really think. But then when you started, everybody started getting actual, statues, and it's like, well, then you got to make him one. It's not just a building. So who's next?
Well, all I can say about
I'm gonna start pounding the table for Chris Jackson.
Pistol Pete was an idol when I was a little bitty kid, and Mike, the drills and the floppy socks and the shoes and all of the things. I mean, injected history in LSU basketball, which of course is primarily a football state. But when you start talking about Chris Jackson and Pete and Shaq and Bob Pettit and all the others, Tiger basketball can hang in there with anybody.
What's funny is Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. I thought maybe he might have been done. He's they just started the new season of the Big Three. He's still out there.
Great picture with you and him a couple years ago.
He's 1 year younger than me. He's still playing.
He can still shoot it.
It's crazy. Obviously he was the guy for me. Yeah. But because I wasn't old enough to see Pete.
Well, no, I mean, I was a little kid when I saw Pete, but I'm just saying you want to grow up like that. And I asked my daddy to start a company.
Chris Jackson was the guy for me.
I asked my dad to start a company with floppy socks. I said, Dad, we'll retire if we can. You remember you had the floppy socks? Everybody followed each other. They had the shoes and all that. But Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, man, the first time he went on the road in the SEC against Florida, 50-plus, was freaking believable.
I still have VHS tapes. Loyola Marymount, UNLV. I have all those VHS tapes in a box. Would watch them over and over.
By the way, but shout out to Matt McMahon. I have not talked enough about LSU basketball. And Mike, it's not that we don't like the job he's done. Everybody's just amazed what he's been able to do. But the way it's slotted with baseball and the finish of the season, and now baseball recruiting, and now hiring 2 new coaches, in case you've been on a cruise or whatever. Fitzpatrick and Jason Kelly have both taken head jobs, Kansas and obviously Washington, respectively. And so now you got all this football recruiting stuff, and this is what we talk about with LSU fan base and LSU coaches. When you're really good in basketball, you don't really get a lot of pop on them until November. And if you're not that good, you don't get pop until the SEC season starts in January. I think Matt McMahon's going to be a home run, just like Jay Johnson.
Dorian Starkey, if you had to guess which quarterback LSU ends up in this recruiting class, who you guys got? I'm not as confident about Dante Moore as a lot of others might be. I think you go Dante Moore. And then after that, you start talking about Ricky Collins. I don't know.
I asked you this question today.
I've been in the, kind of in the 60-40 favoring LSU. I know Notre Dame people still swear that they think it's LSU. I saw Jason Howell's recruiting update with Dante Moore, which kudos to Jason for getting him, but there was also nothing to it. There was nothing to chew on. He doesn't do interviews, and I guess when you do get him, that's what you get. And so there was nothing you could chew on that would give you any inkling as to which way he was leaning. So I still like where LSU's at with him, but who knows?
I ask you the question. With Dante Moore, what's more important, NIL money or depth chart?
Without talking to the kid, it's hard to know. I don't know the dynamic with a parent. I don't know if there's what handlers involved and what conversations those are like. And I assure you, any source in a program that's going to talk to guys like me, they're not going to share a whole lot because it's a scary deal where you got to play that game just right. Any bad piece of information gets out, or it could kill you.
But Garrett Nussmeier is a redshirt freshman, and Walker Howard is a true freshman who will be a redshirt freshman next year. So you're talking about a sophomore and a redshirt freshman and Dante Moore coming in. Is that important to him, or is it more about this? Are you going to get me $2 million? Or are you going to get me $2.5? Or are the big boys going to kick his price up? And we still don't know, Mike. We still are in a stage where we don't know how LSU is going to selectively make decisions on who pays this amount of money, and at what point you wash your hands and say, I'm not going to pay that much. Now that John Bell Edwards obviously voted it in, rubber stamped it and got it in and signed the bill, this could change the whole thing about how LSU does NIL here, and that's only been, 10 days.
Adam Ahmed, love the show, guys. Glad to have you with us. ML Chambers, give me some scoop. Blaine Smith, the Lafayette Christian quarterback, getting offers. Has LSU offered him yet? Yes, they have. That's Jawan Johnson over at LCA, and had a chance to get a good look at him last Friday. And super kid, absolutely super kid. And those kids in that LCA program obviously are coached everywhere very well, state titles. They're gonna have another very good team. So, but yeah, he does have an offer, and they really like him a lot. That was very smart of that kid to cross train and start working at corner and show what he could do. Yeah. Kudos to him, and kudos to the adults around him that got him on that wagon. That was exceptional. Look at the end result. Offers from every major school that recruits Louisiana, offering him as a corner.
By the way,
more news on the kid from Lovejoy. Coach Kane did say fireworks in July. Well, we're gonna see what happens tomorrow at 2:00. Mm-hmm. Jawan Hearns, why haven't we had any commitments from the OL or DL? Because they're all out of state. And then Hurd, Adams at St. Aug. We'll see what happens with Caden Jones at De La Salle. Is he maybe a guy that they would bring in late? But you had almost a dozen between the big group of offensive linemen that are coming in this weekend for official visits. Brad Davis has brought in almost half of all the official visitors, offensive linemen. So let's see how it plays out. Everybody they're recruiting, everybody else wants as well. So these kids are all getting their visits in. They're all stacking them one after the other.
Has this world changed in the last year?
Yeah.
We're in 2022, folks. A verbal commitment is nice to get, but it's irrelevant. I was just counting the months. If you go back to the 15th of June, which was a week ago, we're 6 months away from the early signing period. And I know a lot of people fret about these recruits, and that's the great thing about you and all the other people who do this. And, of course, we talk about Mike and the quality of the film, and he worked his butt off the last 4 or 5 years going and film these kids. And I'd say, why are you going to see that kid on Friday night? He likes to have his eyes. He likes to see if the kid's the real deal. He likes to see the kind of competition he plays against. All that being said, if you get a verbal commitment June 24th, and then somebody comes and offers a blank pile of money on the 12th of December, so what? So I don't think we're going to have the typical numbers you and I've talked about, always 15, 16 going in. I just don't think people are going to have those numbers with verbal
All right,
commitments.
set the over and under for Labor Day weekend. How many commitments going in the first game weekend?
I mean, you said something that I agree with. I think there's some kids that are verbally committed, and they said, look.
I'm going to go 13.
13.
Over under of 13.
I was going to say 12 or 13. But my point is this. Is a verbal commitment worth anything now with NIL?
Yeah.
It's great for the fans, but, hey, they're still nervous coaches.
Well, and look, it depends on where they're from. It depends on the background of the parents. Or did they, is the kid come from a wealthy family? There's all sorts of little things here. Are both parents grads of LSU? Look, but when you're battling a kid from Detroit, Michigan,
yeah.
What's the likelihood that it's not NIL?
Yeah. I'm just saying I don't think people should be freaking out in the summertime because LSU's sitting at a smaller number. Now, what you worry about is December 13, 14, and 15.
Kyle Skeens, Dante's heading back to Oregon this weekend.
Okay, well, there's been a couple of reports that they have taken the lead, and they talking to that daddy, and that's the other thing now. Hey, that Nike brand.
And look, that's the other part of it. You look at LSU's quarterback room right now. Is it the end of the world if you don't get one of the mega quarterbacks for this 23 year?
No, absolutely
when you look at
not.
the names that Joe Sloan is in on for 24, and then the kid Hurley for 25, who, man, he's Caleb Williams-esque. And I've got a big story. I keep pushing it back.
Colin Hurt?
Yeah, I've got a big story coming. So, love that kid.
But I got to remind you something, my friend. You were high on a guy for about 2 years. And I'm here to tell you, folks, don't sleep on Walker Howard. Don't sleep on Garrett Nussmeier. It's not the end of the world if you don't get Dante Moore. The fact that they have four quarterbacks in the room right now, is not going to happen every year. Something's going to happen.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think Nussmeier is carrying himself like he's the guy.
But I'm just telling you,
he's out at camp every day, working at the camp and working with the players. And, man, does he turn the corner?
But that's my whole point with Dante Moore. I guarantee you he's looking at that room a little bit. And then with the daddy hearing from the Nike people in Oregon and the money, so it's not the end of the world. And this is one time LSU fans do not have to be nervous. This is not Les Miles bringing in Russell Shepard to throw ducks. I know the kid was a great kid. He was a great interview, great friend of our shows, both of us. But he wasn't a quarterback, even though he was a five-star quarterback, Mike, and never threw a pass at LSU.
Yep. You got the kid from Arkansas for 24. You got Lagway in Texas. You got the Mabry Matower kid that was here at camp early in the month. Didn't get re-offered, but they really like him. The Julian Sayin kid from California. I don't know. But at some point, they're going to need an answer. And so, because that's when you start going in, but you don't want to go a year without signing one.
Special shout out to Nurse Court. I don't know any LSU female fan and pundit and just crazy that eats, sleeps, breathes LSU football. And look, we've talked about it. In some families, the women like it more than the men. But Nurse Court, keep up the great work. As her and Danny and all these great Tiger fans, can you imagine? Here it is now, dog days of summer. But can you imagine after Brian Kelly goes to SEC Media Days, which is the 18th of July, can you imagine how this thing is going to build up and build up? And I've got some cautious optimism for a really good season. They got to stay healthy, but I think they are on the right path to getting rid of a lot of bad culture. And how many times has John Brady all told us? It's not how much success you have, it's how much you handle. And I don't think anybody handled 19 well.
You know what's a big takeaway for me since he's gotten here that tells you about that? The grade point average for the football team went up 0.4 in one semester. That's a big jump, 0.4.
Well, they had problems with the APR, but that was extenuating circumstances.
Now, when you say that, there's going to be some jackass saying, yeah, well, it's not, what was it before it went to a 0.4, you know. But, no, these guys are all bought in and doing everything that they're supposed to do. They like the structure, and they like the rules and the requirements, and everything else is going on. Jim Milano, is LSU at a disadvantage because Florida State has a warm-up game with a cupcake the week before Labor Day weekend?
I have seen this bandied about on the internet for the last month, and people are sitting there saying, Mike.
We poo-pooed it last year and we saw what happened.
Well, no, I know, but they're saying.
Somebody brought up my Sissy Blue shirt, so that segues right into it.
But once again, the way things are being done at LSU are totally different. You can't smoke the wacky tobacco. You can't skip class. You can't not take your vitamins and do your lifts and all that. You can't. Everybody's being held accountable. My point is this, and people are saying, ought to move the Southern game up. Absolutely disagree with it. If LSU cannot line up and beat Florida State in the Superdome, look, Florida State, 13 years in a row with Bobby Bowden, top 5, and they traveled everywhere. Damn good. They're a shell of themselves, just like Tennessee's been for 20 years. LSU is exponentially better than Florida State. I don't want to hear all that stuff. LSU gets to see Florida State on film, too. That's an advantage. But if you go over and lose to Florida State in the Superdome,
I will say this.
I'm going to have to color my hair.
I will say this. Is Verge Osbury getting rolled where he's letting those teams schedule those games? I mean, okay, ESPN, we'll agree to do your fancy neutral site game. But we're not going to participate if the other school involves scheduling these tune-up games where they get to work out, the signals from the sideline and all the stuff that can, usually happens in a first game.
Well, I'm going to continue to stay.
Come on, Verge.
Look, you're just not happy with Verge.
What's Jaden going to do, Verge?
Hey, I'm going to say it again. If LSU loses to Florida State on the Sunday night of September 4th at 6:30 on ABC, shame on this LSU football team.
We need to hear from our dear sponsor, Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez with Pride Roofing and their brand spanking new commercial spot that they unleashed about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory.
We got it. Property still in disarray from the recent hurricanes and hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. But Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait, and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla Espanol.
There they are, Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. And we're here each and every week thanks to them and them sponsors and being our partner. And so, again, commercial or residential, anywhere in Louisiana, Gulf Coast of Mississippi, all the way to the Texas border, up to Alexandria, Mississippi, up to Jackson, they've got you covered. And any type of roof, they've got it. They've got shingles in stock, a whole room full, a whole yard full of shingles. You're not going to be waiting around. And they want you to swing by their shop on Florida Boulevard right there in Albany. And stop in and say hello, and be sure to call them and say you heard about them on TigerBait when you call for your free roof inspection, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium free for a year.
Look, the motto is simple. A job well done is a job done with pride and by pride. And Mike and I have tried to help these people because we take great pride in having a sponsor that takes great pride in the way they interact with you. Now, you want to do business with people that you like. You want to do business with people that you care. You want to do business that people have pride in the way all of their employees work. They get there early, they finish the job, they clean it up. The acquisition of Crown Metals has totally changed the game. Kudos to Mike and Alex for what they've been able to do. They're not going to be on TV every 15 minutes with a guy saying, oh, I did this and that, but we're growing. Mike Kirby, you went to school with him at Broadmoor.
Went to school with all of them.
And look, Mike Kirby's cell phone number, 225-445-1071. You can call him direct now. Tammy, Yessie, all the ladies, 275-2041. And, of course, if you're out of the Baton Rouge area, 855-PRIDE-16. But all we ask is that you give them an opportunity. Come get an inspection. Call them. Mike has had many calls.
And if they're high, they'll match it. They'll beat it. They want to earn your business. If they come in high, let them know.
And look, I've had 2 or 3 people tell me, with traffic and everything going on, if he's late, they give you a call and say, hey, I'm running late. I mean, trust and communication, you got to have it. Pride Roofing gives it to you. Trust us when we tell you, you will take great pride in the way your roof looks after you do business with Pride Roofing.
Lamar Williams says, we putting up 300 yards rushing on Florida State. Boy, that would be a welcome. That would certainly send a message, the kind of message that Brian Kelly wants to send. That would tell you that he's got a reinvigorated, what do you want to call it, reloaded offensive line. And that certainly would make things better for a quarterback that's learning to be the guy, or quarterbacks plural. So Paul Eskine in the house, kicked off at walk-ons with a sub 3.5 GPA. That'll do it.
PFM did business with Pride Roofing. He's one of those guys, called me up and said, look, I want to do business with you guys sponsors, but guess what? We got to sharpen the pencil. 30 minutes later, they had a deal. He was blown away. And, oh, by the way, they had another hurricane since you put the roof on. Only guy in his neighborhood didn't lose the shingle.
David Singley, Jr., what's up, Mike and Buddy? Haven't been in here a while. Good to see y'all. Glad to have you with us. Glad to have all of you guys with us. Please hit the like button, share, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and that notification bell. I've been spent a lot of time getting things geared up for football season, adding new equipment, adding new camera equipment. A lot of big plans coming your way, including growing our YouTube channel. We're going to be putting out so much content once football season and the practices come here. If you're getting that notification bell, you're going to be punch drunk with all the dings you're going to be getting from all the content we're going to roll out your way. And, of course, and a lot of that will hinge on what the access is, how many practices we get to go to. Certainly, I don't believe it's going to be as in-depth as we got in the spring. Coach Kelly told us it was a bunch, but that's okay. I think we're going to get enough. But I'm anxious to see how he does it.
Yeah, I do not think we will be able to go to the scrimmages like we did in the spring. Now, they weren't actually true scrimmages, but I think that Brian Kelly is smart enough to know that he is going to give enough access to the fan base. And this is one of the first things that you learn, Mike. when you take the job at LSU. Insatiable appetite with this fan base. 365, 24/7. They want to know who the freaking left guard is. They want to know why the fourth-string kicker left. They want to know why the deep snapper didn't come back and play in the bowl game. They want to know all of that stuff. He's smart enough to know you've got to feed that animal a little bit. But he also is a football coach, and they're the most paranoid of all the college coaches. Wouldn't you agree?
But just
And they got 105 guys.
Let me ask you, just your sense of him. What would you say his paranoid level is compared to previous LSU coaches, say since Hallman?
I don't think we can measure that. I
think it's the least.
But we don't know yet.
Now there's a few assistant coaches on his staff that I think have high paranoia. But him himself, I don't think he has that. Or if he did, he's gotten to an age where he's learned to work through it. But I don't see it. Maybe it happens and it's different once the season gets here.
Well, that's what I say. Let's wait till lights, camera, and action. Right now, this is dress rehearsal. Look, I've always said going to spring football is like preparing for tests, taking a test, but the grade doesn't count. The grades start to count September 4th. And I stand by the fact that if LSU doesn't put enough fannies in there to make a big difference. Now, I've asked you this question many times, and I don't know, we won't know until before they announce it, but will he bring back Tiger Stadium? Will they sell a record number of season tickets? All those things are work in progress. I do think, though, that the old school guys and women are going to like it because he's a no-nonsense guy, and he's going to require discipline and doing it the old school way. But it's still, as far as paranoia, come on, man. We're not going to know how tight his butt is until that first.
Well, so DiNardo takes the cake. Yeah. DiNardo was the number one, but most guys like me liked DiNardo.
Yeah, sure.
DiNardo was good to us guys.
Yeah.
But DiNardo was in the shape he was in because he got paranoid.
Yeah. Well, especially at the end.
Yeah. Now Saban was probably the one that, could turn coal into diamond,
Let me ask you something, Mark. Mm-hmm. You had guaranteed $100 million. Would you be paranoid?
I wouldn't be sweating at all.
and listen, folks, I'm going to ask Coach the question, and I know y'all all want to know the answer. But the last three coaches at LSU have won national championships. One is the greatest college coach of all time. And two other guys were in the right place at the right time. God bless Les and Coach O. By the way, neither of them, after their departure at LSU, were viable fixtures. Now, I think Coach O is going to go back and be an assistant next year. Les is done. But what did Brian Kelly think? What were his emotions? Look, Jay Johnson knows the pressure of being the LSU baseball coach. He embraced it. Brian Kelly's here to win a national championship and prove to people. Now, they had some academic restrictions that him and the Notre Dame administration fought over, and $100 million and making this move. But at 60 years old, that man is no nonsense, and I think you're going to see it. I think you're going to see it from the first game on. Really
Ant Marshall in the house. My guys, Mike and Buddy. What's up, fellas? Ant in the whole Golden Boot Pod guys in here. Love that group. Check out their show on YouTube. Edward O got the crabs. Says, hey, Mike, I'm smashing that like button. Glad to have you with us. Paul Escon, hey, can we have a TigerBait meetup restaurant takeover or rent a venue, $30 a person? You know what? There's a lot of push for that. We got a thread on our message board about doing that. I think we're going to do that. I think someone suggested maybe the Saturday of the Southern game, or maybe do we do like a preseason gatherings, maybe in mid-August somewhere. And we get I know one year we did an event at the sidebar at Superior.
Yeah, I mentioned the tailgate before the Southern game. That is going to be historical.
See, where game days are problems.
Yeah,
everybody wants to watch the games.
Right. They want you to drink beer.
It's probably a bit. I would, and I got to work.
Yeah.
So I would much rather maybe do something where we all get together. In
now,
August.
if it was in Shreveport, Tiger Shark would just pull out the gold or black credit card.
Oh yeah.
Oh, with walk-ons.
That's the word.
We are look. We're going to do that, and if you meet PFM, he's another guy. We talked about Nurse Court. It's amazing, Mike, when you talk about the LSU fan base, how important it is and the excitement. You can tell. I talked to a couple people, and they just came back from the beach, and they're hitting me up every day. Who's going to be the quarterback? What do you think Emory's going to do? Yada, yada, yada. It's what we live for, and it is like a religion to all of us here. And look, whether it's healthy or not, people live vicariously through these teams. And the next one to tell us what's behind the curtain is LSU on September 4th. And I don't think the Tigers are going to be disappointed. I still think they're going to start 4-0. And after that,
maybe I ought to do something in New Orleans where I go down the day before and we have some big blowout on some place on the Saturday in New Orleans. I don't know. We got to figure something out.
yeah, we'll do that.
But I do like the preseason, and it looks like Nurse Court says preseason also.
I will bring all the sausage to Boudin, all of that stuff that we need.
I've been knowing Buddy for 30 years. I've never gotten a link of Manda sausage.
You know why, folks? He's always on a diet. He doesn't eat sausage.
I know. I'm never on a diet.
I ask you, yeah, you eat more sugar than anybody I know, but you don't do Boudin. And I've asked you if you want some sausage brought over here before. You know what you always tell me?
What?
No.
Is Nothing Bundt Cakes one of your sponsors? Because I'll take a bunch of those.
No,
White chocolate raspberry.
They're not. They're not.
All right. Who Dat Dude, how confident are you that we get Caleb Jackson? Look, there's nothing that's 100%, but I would not bet against LSU. No way.
Great compliment with him and Trey Holly.
Yeah. Those two go together. I think they're like Buddy said, they complement each other. Two different style backs, power back. But little Trey Holly, he's a power back too, man. In a year when you take two running backs, which you probably want to do it almost every year, those are two good ones to have right in the state. So Frank Wilson has got a big luxury that no other coach on the LSU staff has, having those two great ones in the state. And of course, Caleb at Liberty, and I went and saw Liberty's spring game. They've gone up into 5A, and they've got a rough schedule. And but I think they got some players there. They might surprise some people and win a game or two more than people think.
Mike, I looked at a lot of college games last year, and one of the things, and TDP was hurt the first 5 or 6 games, but every Saturday, Alabama, Georgia, everybody had more depth and better quality running backs. It's time for LSU to get 4 studs, running back by committee. No disrespect to the last couple of years, but Emory's been in and out. TDP, it wasn't the same back the first 5 games. You got to get some difference makers toting the football. And I want to see them catch the ball out the backfield with the swing passes and utilize that. And, of course, we know Noah Kane is on campus now. So interesting. We'll follow him, see how he looks.
Absolutely. And, of course, if you're thinking of buying a home or refinancing your current mortgage, haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. Dear friend of mine and someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs over and over. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. Tony offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And tell her you heard about her here on TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765. Equal Housing Opportunity 70876. And congrats to Tony on her new marriage. And interest rates going up. Fed going to be doing some things. You need to have somebody like Tony in your corner. Yeah, you're going to make some money on selling your current home, but you're going to spend more money buying a new one as well. So it's going to come out in the wash. But I think a lot of people thinking they're staying put, but sometimes jobs and this and that or changes in lifestyle make you need to move something bigger or smaller. And she's absolutely who you want to use. Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial, the best in the business.
You know, it's always interesting when we talk about people and sponsors and companies. And I had a buddy, Mark, who went over there, and he says, my gosh, everything you guys said about her was true. She had $1 million smile, consummate professional, makes you feel like you've known her for 5 years, and dots the I's, crosses the T's, the best in the business. And this is a funny thing when you were congratulating Tony. You know what he tells me a day or two later? He says, you know, I didn't want to get personal, but I could marry somebody like Tony. Mark, she's off the market.
Yeah, yeah.
So, hey, do business with her, and congratulations to Tony.
Absolutely. 256 Moxley says, I think Brian Kelly gets a ring before Jimbo Fisher or Napier. As a college football fan, I'm impressed with Brian Kelly's resume. Nothing not to like. Haters gonna hate regardless. You guys know what I think. I'm not buying A&M, and I don't believe that he'll ever win. Well, we're going to go to different setup. But if it were going to stay the same, I will tell you that I don't think he would ever win the West, and I don't ever see Texas A&M going to Atlanta under Jimbo Fisher.
Well, look, the biggest thing.
I don't like his offense.
And that's what I was going to say. He's got an antiquated offense, and of course you see Jimbo with the glasses, and you're peering down, and he's looking at the big sheet, but he's not doing what you need to do. He's not he's not getting the athletes to. Now look, let's give him credit. He was the first guy, an assistant of Nick's, to beat him. Kirby did it in the championship game.
But then you turn around and lose to LSU with how many walk-ons on the field?
Well,
He lost 4 games.
But he's got a very old school offense.
That's Les Miles' offense.
And so I'm interested to see what Texas A&M is going to do with all of that young talent. Look, we talk about 5 stars, Mike, but guess what? Experience means a lot. But guess what? They're going to be ranked ahead of LSU in another month. Huh? LSU's going to be 4th or 5th in the West, minimum. I mean, look, Bama, A&M, Ole Miss, probably Arkansas. Huh.
Arkansas is a good football team.
But my point is that there's a lot of games on that schedule. You were talking busting my chops. You know, Mike's kind of like, 8-4. What are you going to say, 9-3? I don't know what Ole Miss is going to be like when LSU plays them. Same with Arkansas, Auburn, and Tennessee. Tennessee's got all kinds of yap.
I've got a lunch at Brewbacher's that you end up at 9-3.
I don't know yet. I'm not going to predict it until I see what
I bet you a
like.
French dip at Brewbacher's.
Okay, you got it.
All right, AYS Sports. Never trust a man that wears a Velcro hat, Mike.
Now,
Does Jimbo wear a Velcro hat?
Uh,
I don't know what is it the clasp in the back rather than fitted? Not sure what he's saying.
hey, congrats to
Oh, Danny Girl, Mike Jimbo is a fraud. The true fake news.
wow.
Unless he gives up the headset to younger minds, they won't succeed. Look at old Danny Girl rolling here. All right, I like it.
Look, I was just going to say congratulations to Blake and his wife, expecting another kid. Enjoyed the shortstop's interview with Blake. He's working his tail off. Carter Bryant had the deep snapper on. Look, a lot of things happening, and Danny Girl and Nurse Court and all those folks, they're great followers. So great to have you in there. But it's going to be interesting to see, Mike, who
Rick
grows up.
Cloete.
Cloete.
Kloete.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you.
Jimbo has that hat with the fake hair on top of it.
Hey, listen. Let me say this about Jimbo.
No, he did go get some plugs, didn't he?
Well, let me just say this about Jimbo. He threw an uppercut back at Nick.
Jimbo eats soup with a fork.
And Nick should have never said what he did. Nick Saban didn't buy a player. He's bought thousands of players. And so I was glad that Jimbo stood up to him. But on the other hand, Mike.
I was amazed at the poll on our front page. I think it was like 65% of the TigerBait registered users that voted in our poll. And this question was simply, who was right, Jimbo or Nick? 65% said Nick.
Yeah.
I actually was, you know, even though I'm not buying into the Kool-Aid that the A&M fan base is, where they think their program is and where it's not. I thought that was epic what Jimbo did.
Well, my point with A&M and Jimbo is this. Look, Jimbo was at LSU and did some great things. Of course, he's won a national championship. And as I said, that antiquated offense. But with this tete-a-tete with him and Saban, this is going to be interesting to see the pressure the media puts on him. If they're picked second in the West, and I think they probably will be, can they live up to that? You made a great point. Texas A&M, before we respect you, you got to beat LSU when they're playing 42
Yeah,
players.
I mean, they're going to beat that COVID year Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, that was really that'd be like LSU fans running around beating their chests about beating UCF in the Fiesta Bowl.
And they cheated their ass off in the seven overtime game. Let's just
Yeah.
say it the way it is. Blatant cheating by the SEC. Should have been 3 or 4 calls that should have had that game ended. Remember, that was the game that Joe Burrow did what? Put LSU football on his frickin' back. And the rest is history. Now, I'm waiting to see who's the next quarterback that's going to have the it factor and lead LSU back into being in the top 10 regularly.
Nurse Court asked Mike, do you know of a time prior in the SEC where we've had this level of coaching? Even in Spurrier days, it's impressive overall. Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, there might be some coaches in the SEC where you don't like them or you don't like their personality, but I mean, even the teams that you're looking at that you think are going to finish in the cellar have good coaches. I mean, the SEC West. I mean, there's just fantastic coaches.
You think LSU, where will they get picked in a month in the West?
Fourth?
4th or 5th? I mean, look, who knows what Auburn is going to bring to the table.
But in reality, what's going to be the difference between the team that finishes, say, 3rd and 6th? Is it? I mean, you're talking about what game differences, and those teams going head to head and losing by a field goal. I mean, LSU's got 3 or 4 games on their schedule that are going to be the difference, and they could all be within single digits, whether you win or you lose.
And the latest scoop is that it looks like, this is not in stone, but it looks like, Mike, there's the latest trend we're hearing is that they're going to go to 9 conference games, which would be 3 every year, same 3 every year, and then 6 rotations. So in a 4-year period, you get to play everywhere.
Clody is pronounced Clody, like partly cloudy Clody.
Okay.
All right, that's
I
cool.
thought it was another spelling. Appreciate that.
I'm usually pretty good at figuring those out.
Yeah, I asked you what
I guess I butchered that one a
I
little
asked
bit.
you who Herb
Sorry about that,
was
Rick.
first name.
Mike McGrath. Hey, Mike and Buddy. Good to have you with us. See him avatar with, was that a Weimaraner or a lab? Let's see what we got here. 256 Moxley. Take the talent loss we have had and not quite restocked. Although we get great players compared to what A&M has gained, not lost. They still not on our level. Now we have a general with a plan. Just have to stay healthy and need some of these. You know, I said before, what percentage do you need the hit rate to be on the transfer portal guys? If you get close to 50%, that's a home run. If 50% of all those guys end up being what you hope they are.
Next week, I want to bring to the table just how many different starters LSU will have. And you know I'm high on the 3 cornerbacks. Look, Mackay and Converse and of course, 7 Banks, I'm all in on those guys. They're all over 6'1", all over 200, long arms. You got all those other guys that are going to give them some depth. If you can just solve the safety position and not be thrown over the top, of course, Jay Ward and all the guys, Fouché, Brooks, what's Major Burns going to bring to the table? All that. If you really solve safety, I think this defense has got a heck of a chance to be nasty.
There's bodies there to make it go.
Because the D-line, the potential is what those guys want to make it look. Davin Gottschall did the interview with Shock the other day, and he said it. Mason Smith, this is the year Big Number 0 can play himself into a top 10 pick next year. It's up to you, big fella.
Michael B., Buddy, I think that Nuss has Burrow-like fire in his belly, and that's something I was alluding to earlier. I really like what I'm seeing him. Looks like he's I think he's really starting to feel it, and we'll see. Not sure if that will translate to the field, but he definitely has that intensity about him, though. Look, his daddy's a coach. His dad was a quarterback. Loves LSU. He's been out there at all the camps, working the quarterback groups, and he just looks like a kid that's like saying, he looks like a guy that's ready to say, look, I'm the guy. It's going to be mine. And that's a big part of the battle. I think he came out of spring football with a lot of confidence.
Sure. And of course, the big thing on us is he's got to minimize the INTs.
I'm not saying he's a starter. I'm just saying he's got the air about him where he believes he's going to be the guy. And that's it. You want to see that in all your quarterbacks.
Sure.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. We don't even talk about Walker Howard.
Well,
I assure you, Walker Howard goes to work every day, and if I don't care what the drill is, he's looking at every one of them and wants to beat them.
I mentioned that 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You've been sleeping on Walker Howard.
Yeah.
Walker, I've been in your corner, buddy. And look, I don't care what anybody's saying. That young man is going to be a great quarterback at LSU. Now, what year it is and how far they go, that is still yet to be determined. But that's what I was talking about with Dante Moore, Mike. You got Nussmeier and Walker Howard, and those guys don't have much experience. Dante Moore, he's got to be looking a little bit at that. And then when you throw in the NIL money, it's not a priority, but you'd love to bring him in because competition makes everybody better.
Rick Clody, Nuss has the pedigree, work ethic, fire in his belly, leadership, and confidence. If he gets a chance, he may not give it up. What do we got here? College World Series update. Arkansas 3-1. Okay.
Oklahoma defeated Texas A&M earlier, so the Aggies are gone. Oklahoma waits to play Saturday. You'll go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 2 out of 3. Ole Miss, if they lose tonight, Arkansas will play them again tomorrow, and the winner will play Oklahoma.
Who you pulling for?
I kind of threw it against the wall, and I said that Arkansas was due to win it after they were so good last year and laid an egg. A lot of LSU fans and a lot of people in Baton Rouge certainly love and respect Mike Bianco, and they are they're pulling for him. But quite frankly, as long as one of the SEC teams, I'm not one of those guys that says, we watch these guys all year long.
I want an all SEC final.
Yeah, well, no, it can't happen now.
Oh, okay.
See, Oklahoma's already in.
Oh, all
They
right.
beat A&M. But there will be one SEC team in the final. But look, either one, Arkansas or Ole Miss, I'd like to see either one of those guys, those teams win it. Ole Miss has been hot.
Guys, go subscribe to TigerBait once the show's over with. We want to have you as a subscriber. You can try us for $1, but choose the annual package. You get billed one time. You basically, rather than going monthly, you get TigerBait. You're getting essentially 3 months free versus going monthly. You'll get our text alerts for breaking news, and there's going to be some text alerts. And you'll get our newsletters. You're going to get all of our recruiting updates, our analysis. I'm on the message board day and night answering your questions. We've got a lot new features coming your way. Got a couple of new additions that are going to be helping roll out content. So we're about to have a big football season coming your way on TigerBait with a lot more coverage. And, of course, nobody provides prospect video like we do once fall camps get started with local high schools and so forth. So we're going to be doing that up in a big way, and we want to have you as a big part of our TigerBait family. Go subscribe. I think you'll enjoy our message board. We have great discussions there. We've been growing by leaps and bounds, and the message board like I said, it is a big group and a great group of guys with good opinions, and we don't have a whole lot of knuckleheads, I'll say that.
I am going to be giving away some treats, and one of them is going to be a parking pass to the Southern game, and I think it's just going to be an incredibly historic game. Hey, we got to get that party together, whether it's before, and we'll
Absolutely.
work on the logistics. But we'll be giving away some tidbits. I know people give away cash and this and all that, but we are going to try to show our appreciation that the people out there that watch us and tune in. And some of the comments obviously are funny, but hey, everybody is in here for one reason, to try and ascertain how incredibly happy or sad your Saturdays are going to be this upcoming fall. And I don't know about you, but you got to do those late post games with Preston. And let's be honest, not to be a homer, but 6:30 for the first game. So it's in New Orleans. So that means earliest you're doing 10 o'clock.
You know what I think I'm doing?
It's a lot easier to do a show at 10 o'clock if they win. Than
I was telling Preston we might do the post game show like we did. What was it? The spring game we did driving home. We might do it driving home from New Orleans.
Okay, y'all are going to that game.
Yeah, we might do it driving home from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, and it'll be a camera mounted on the dashboard.
Okay, well.
So that's because that way we get it in, we'll be able to get it in, and we're on our way.
It's better for business, and as we know, look, Saints, tickled pink that Dennis Allen's the new coach, going to have a great defense, bringing in the Honey Badger, Jarvis Landry. Really like this Chris Olave from Ohio State. And, oh, by the way, Ohio State is killing it with wide receivers. But that's never a problem here because they grow on trees in Louisiana with the athletes, the DBs.
Really
and
like,
wide receivers.
Everybody talks about Shelton Sampson, but don't sleep on Kai Preem. He is an exceptional wide receiver with moves, great balance, good hands, great hands. And I think they're very upbeat in St. James about him being ruled eligible after playing at Ascension Catholic last year. But that's just a couple of wide receivers in the state for this year.
Hey, real quick, who has a bigger year? Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. or Chris Hilton?
Thomas.
Yeah. Look, Kayshawn's going to do his thing. Jeray Jenkins has got a role. Jack Besh going to be incredible in the slot. And you, this tidbit, I'm surprised you
But
didn't
Chris
say.
Hilton is the guy that they want to be the next big thing.
Big play guy.
Yeah.
And he's got to stay healthy. But I'm a little disappointed. You gave me some scoop about Mason Taylor. He's a tight end coming in.
Yeah,
This
if you
is
saw,
Mason
we
Taylor's son.
had our live thread for camp last week, and Mason Taylor was working with the tight ends, and man, just what he looks like physically out there in a t-shirt and shorts. That kid looks a lot better than what you've seen anything online.
I think he's got bigger guns than you.
He's big, man. That's a big kid.
He missed that joke. Folks.
I'm be curious to see that he's going to play immediately. So when you start talking about true freshmen that can make an impact the quickest, he's one of them.
Well, LSU is not. They're very deep at that position, and of course, as we know with the quarterback, will you have time? Will you deliver it? And look, we can beat up Max Johnson all we want, but he had a pretty darn good TD to INT ratio. That's the one thing I think with Nussmeier, he's got to answer that question. He's telling everybody, I don't want to be known as a gunslinger. He fits it in a small window with that big arm, but once again, can't have a couple, 3 INTs in a game. Those are the things that get you beat. So going to be a lot of fun this summer, and we'll be right here trying to give you tidbits.
Rick Clody, forgive me if you covered it, Mike and Buddy, but do you have a prediction for Sampson yet? I like LSU's chances. I wouldn't. We have a prediction area on TigerBait. I haven't gone in and checked a box for him to LSU, but I would not say that there's a school out there that has higher chances than LSU with him. I think they've done everything they can for him. So we're going to see how that plays out. All right, guys. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Please like, share. Go to TigerBait, subscribe. I think you'll really enjoy the website and everything that we're going to have coming your way this football season. And like I said, I'm on those message boards day and night. We've got a lot of features coming your way. So big thanks to all of you that tuned in tonight. Thanks to Buddy for coming in as usual. And we'll see you next week. Good night.